Hello everyone, hope you found doing great. Welcome to Elyas Tech channel. If you're new here, welcome, and I'm so happy to see you all once again. Of course, I'm so excited. I'm going to overview one of the another high demanding network switch in the market. Of course, it is S3410 series of FS company. Okay guys, as you notice that overall we have two types of switch. We have an unmanageable switch and we have a manageable switch. Luckily, this is a manageable switch. Okay guys, once we log into the switch, the first page, or we can see the dashboard, we can easily find out the CPU usage, and meanwhile we can find the memory usage as well. Since I say that this is a manageable switch and also it's layer 2 protocol of OSI model switch, or it is based on MAC address, we can create a VLAN. As you notice that we can create a VLAN, and meanwhile we can delete the VLAN as well. Trunk, we can create the trunk port and we can create a access port as well. Vice VLAN, another good thing about this switch is that you can specify or you can isolate your vice in between data port. When we come to the port section, we have a L3 port and we have a L2 port. L2 port is based on MAC address. We can specify VLAN, for example, VLAN 1, VLAN 2, VLAN 3, and so on. But with the L3 port, we can assign an IP for each VLAN as well. Aggregate port. Guys, we can aggregate port as well. Guess how? We can combine, for example, port 1, 2, 3, 4. If I pick these four port and connect to another FS switch to 1, 2, 3, 4, means I can combine these four interface with one another. I'm using that aggregate port as a one interface. That is a beautiful thing about this switch. Port monitoring. Guys, with the help of the switch, we can specify the source and destination as well. If you are using Wireshark or any types of vulnerability tools that you are using, probably you need a port monitoring as well. PoE, power over Ethernet. As I mentioned, that this is power over Ethernet switch as well. We can say 802.3 AF. For example, I have a power over Ethernet wireless access point. If I connect this access point to my FS switch, I do need a power adapter, because this switch will provide a power over Ethernet for your security camera, for your access point, for your voice over IP devices, for any types of device which is looking for power over Ethernet. Remember that this is a good feature as well. If we want to access through the command line interface, so we can configure SSH as well. Restart, here is the place where we can restart this switch. Let's come to the network portion. MAC. Guys, we can do MAC filtering in here as well, which is so beautiful and is very profound as well. Routing, we can specify a route. For example, VLAN 1 should go to this gateway and VLAN 2 should go to this gateway. We can do these things inside this switch as well. STP, a spanning tree protocol, we can configure a spanning tree protocol as well. So in here you can change which kind of a spanning tree protocol. Do you want rapid spanning tree protocol or you want multi-spanning tree protocol? It depends on how you design your network. IGMP snooping. If I turn this one on, what's gonna happen? If you look at on the left side of the diagram, a sender want to send a message to host A and host C. When you look at the left sided diagram, you can see that host B is also receiving the same message. So this is a noise in our network. We doesn't want this kind of multicast noise inside of our network. In order to avoid that kind of noise in our network, we need to have IGMP. Alright, we have a DHCP relay. In here you can configure the DHCP relay as well. If I come to authentication, guys, there is a two types of authentication that does come with this switch, and meanwhile you can configure a radio server 802.1x as well. You can configure that one as well. If you look at in here, radio server setting, if I click in here, I can configure the radio server, add the radio server. If I configure the radio server, that then whoever want to access this switch, they should have a username inside my Active Directory in order to access this switch. Alright, let's come to the security portion. DHCP snooping. Probably the question is, what is DHCP snooping? If I collect this one and I see that only port number 1 is the trusted DHCP server. The rest, if any of these ports want to provide a DHCP server to my network, eliminated. They are not trusted port. Gateway anti-ARP spoofing. in here, if you have a ARP spoofing or ARP poisoning, if you add and specify the port, it eliminate all ARP spoofing or ARP poisoning in your network. This switch does come with the IP source guard as well. Port security, you can specify, you can secure the port, you can reject the port, you can violation as for example shutdown, or you can specify any types of violation that you want. For example, port number 1 is only allowed to access for example this access point. If someone connect to this port, that port should be shut down. This is the good thing about the port security as well. It does come with the NFVP as well. If you want to keep it enabled, you keep it check. If you doesn't want to make it enabled, you just uncheck it. Storm control, if anything happen in your computer, it will automatically block broadcasting, multicasting, unicasting, anything. It is very secure switch as well. If we come to advanced port protection, we can do the port protection, and manual we can do the DHCP. We can configure the switch to provide a DHCP, or we can say dynamic host configuration protocol IP for the clients as well. Accessless, we can configure for example this host is able to go to this direction, this host is not allowed to go to for example DMZ site, or the DMZ site is allowed to go to this direction but the LAN site is not allowed to go to another direction. This is how we can accomplish this goal by the accessless as well. It is more, if you look at in here, there is a lot of things in here. QS, quality of service, we can specify, we can create a policy as well. We can give the high priority for voice over IP rather than regular data, for example email exchange and so on. We can do the QS as well inside this switch as well. Setting, you can change the time, you can change the password, you can reset this switch to factory default, and meanwhile you can configure SNMP, DNS as well. If you want to upgrade, you can upgrade in here. You have to download file and then upgrade it. System lock, you can enable the server lock as well. Whenever you want to check, you can check the lock as well. Detection, in here you can find the detection, you can ping, you can trace. So it does come with the cable detection and collection as well. Web CLI, web command line interface. Let's say show running config. If I click in here, you can see I can run the command using web CLI feature as well. Okay guys, then last but not least, one of the most important thing, or I can say the key component about this network switch is two power supply. As you look at in here, it does come with the two power supply, but luckily I found my network switch. Alright, I hope the information was very helpful. If you think it was very helpful, guys, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and share this information with your colleague, with your family, with whoever you think they're pursuing such important information. The only way to appreciate my work is to simply subscribe and like the video. Until next time, stay safe, be brave, and of course see you guys next time.